Good morning, students. Welcome to your second science lesson. Today, our topic is bacteria. I will explain what bacteria are, how are they useful to us, and how are they harmful to us, and what benefits can we take from bacteria. So, let's begin our lesson for today. The first question that arises is what are bacteria? Bacteria are single-celled microorganisms. They make up one of the 5 kingdoms on Earth. They are the most abundant form of life on Earth as well. There are about 59 million of them present right now. 59 million, you ask? It's a 5 followed by 30 zeros. Even though bacteria are so small, they cannot be seen with the naked eye. They are present all around us. Bacteria is present in our food, in our water, in our air, and even in our bodies. Bacteria can only be seen under a microscope. Here an image shows what these tiny microorganisms look like under a microscope. Bacteria actually comes in a lot of different shapes and sizes, but the most common ones are rods, spheres, and spirals. So how is bacteria useful to us? Bacteria is useful to us in a certain way that they produce certain chemicals called enzymes. These bacterial enzymes are very important to us. Firstly, because they help us in our digestion and help us to digest our food. Like I mentioned earlier, that bacteria are present inside our bodies. This is the main function that they perform. How do bacteria do this? By a simple process. Bacteria produces these enzymes. These enzymes break down large particles, and as a result, bacteria digests small particles as food, and we are able to digest the food and extract the nutrients from the food. Another important aspect of bacteria is that it provides us food products. Can you guess what kind of food products? Yes, yogurt and cheese. Certain bacteria present in milk converts the milk into cheese and yogurt. Look at this flowchart. Milk contains glucose. What is glucose? Do you remember? Yes, glucose is a form of sugar. Bacteria, like yeast, uses this sugar as food and converts it into lactic acid. This acid coagulates the milk and forms curds. These curds are called yogurt. The bacteria need certain conditions to produce curd. These are warmth and moisture. The bacteria that produces this lactic acid in milk are called lactic acid bacteria. The two most common present in milk are called Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophilus. You can see one is rod shaped and one is spherical shaped. So not all bacteria are our friends, right? Some are very harmful and are called pathogens, and they can cause a variety of diseases like sore throat or a disease called cholera, which can result in severe form of diarrhea and even death. So how is it that bacteria is in such abundant quantities on Earth? Do you remember how much they are? Go back and you can see how much they are. So the bacteria divides by a process called binary fission. What is this process? Look at these images. What do you see? So binary fission is a process in which bacteria can make its duplicate copies. An organism or a bacteria divides into identical form, splits into two. So they make multiple copies on and on and on. One bacteria can produce as many as millions of copies of itself. And that is why they are so abundant on Earth. Some of the important components of a bacterial cell include flagella, which helps it in its movement, chromosome, which controls the cell, slime layer, which helps the bacteria stick to objects, cell wall, which gives its shape, cell surface membrane, which exchanges the material in and out of the cell, cytoplasm, which also gives bacteria a certain shape. Do you remember what shape the bacteria were? Yes, rods, spheres, spirals. So the most important component for a bacteria is a flagella, which helps in its movement. A flagella is a whip-like structure, an outgrowth, which propels the bacteria forward and helps it to move from one place or another. It might be present in some bacteria and absent in others. Here you see an image of a bacteria with a moving flagella. The flagella acts like a propeller of a plane and moves in spiral direction, like you see in this image. And lastly, you have a simple diagram of a bacterial cell with all of its components. Flagella can be present at one end, cell wall is the outer layer, cytoplasm is inside the cell, and a bacterial DNA or chromosome is present inside the cytoplasm. Look at this diagram. You need to memorize all these parts and know the function of each part as well. I will give you some time. Take a look at this diagram in detail. Thank you, students. This was all for today. I hope you understood today's lesson. If you have any questions, feel free to ask and I will get back to you.